Hello, my friends. Today we bring you Kate Beckinsale's filmography. One Against the Wind. During World War II, Mary Linden from the French Red Cross helps downed Allied soldiers escape to the unoccupied side of France. Her mission is complicated by her notoriety and her daughter's romance with a German officer, based on a true story, Rachel's Dream. In a technology-dominated future, Rachel discovers that her desires can come true by using a bank of video screens in her sister's apartment. Bringing an anti-pollution poster to life, Rachel encounters a new friend who helps her make decisions about her own future. Anna Lee, Headcase. A bright, pretty, and determined young girl named Anna Lee quits the police department in search of adventure and joins a small and somewhat stuffy detective agency whose members don't look particularly kindly on her. Much Ado About Nothing. Prince Dom Pedro of Aragon returns victorious from a battle. Along with other young men, he is received with rejoicing by Leonardo, who lives with his daughter and niece in a house in Sicily. There, loves and heartaches are woven into a web of intrigues. Prince of Jutland. Prince Amled witnesses his father's death at the hands of Feng, the king's brother who marries the queen and assumes the throne. Pretending madness, the son of the murdered king flees to Scotland where he plans his revenge. Uncovered. During the restoration of an ancient artwork, the specialist Julia discovers the text, "Who killed the knight," hidden beneath the painting. The owner reveals that one of their ancestors was murdered, leading them on a journey to uncover the culprit. Cold Comfort Farm. Finding herself suddenly orphaned, the expensively educated Flora Post heads for the country to seek her rights and refuge with her distinctively different cousins, the Starcatters, at Cold Comfort Farm. Marie-Louise ou La Permission. When Marie-Louise goes to meet her lover, Jean-Paul, who is arriving in Paris on his military leave, she goes to the wrong train station. Marie-Louise and Jean-Paul spend the next 24 hours running around the city looking for each other. Haunted. David Ash witnesses the tragic death of his twin sister in his childhood. Years later, he becomes a parapsychology professor specializing in exposing fraudulent mediums and psychic phenomena. Emma. Faithful, enchanting adaptation of Jane Austen's 19th century tale of Emma Woodhouse, a clever young woman whose mischievous matchmaking schemes nearly end up jeopardizing her own shot at romance. Shooting Fish. American Dylan and Brit Jez, childhood friends from opposite sides of the pond, reconnect in London as young adults to con England's wealthy into financing a home for deserving orphans themselves. The Last Days of Disco. In the early 80s, the end of the disco era, two young women freshly graduated from college, who work at a publishing house, dance and have fun at night in a chic nightclub in New York. One is shy and conservative, the other, sexy and outgoing. Gradually, conflicts arise. Alice, Through the Looking Glass. Alice falls asleep after reading a bedtime story to her daughter. Walking through the mirror, she enters a new and magical world where she encounters very strange and amusing figures, such as the White and Red Queens. Broke Down Palace. Alice and Darlene, the friends, decide to travel to Thailand. Upon arriving there, they are greeted by the Australian Nick Parks. He convinces them to spend the weekend in Hong Kong. However, at the airport, they are arrested for drug trafficking and sentenced to 33 years in prison. The Golden Bowl. Adam Verver and Maggie Verver are father and daughter who live amidst the elegant social scene of England and Italy in the early 20th century. Adam is an American billionaire who is also an art collector and has recently married, as has his daughter. Pearl Harbor. Two pilots and longtime friends fall in love with the same woman, but they must set aside their differences when the Japanese attack the Pearl Harbor naval base on December 7, 1941. Serendipity. On a magical night, Jonathan meets Sarah. He believes it's love at first sight, but Sarah believes in destiny. 10 years later, the two must decide if fate wants them to be together again. Laurel Canyon. Sam and his fiancée Alex move into his mother Jane's luxurious house in Los Angeles for the summer, but Jane, busy with a project with her boyfriend Ian, has not yet left. Influenced by Jane's liberal lifestyle, Sam and Alex face temptations that threaten their relationship. Tiptoes. Stephen and Carol form a happy couple until she becomes pregnant. She wishes to keep the baby, but he insists on her having an abortion at all costs. Unable to understand his desire, Carol begins to investigate and discovers that the reason is because Stephen comes from a family of dwarfs. Underworld. The vampires maintain a battle and an ancient rivalry with a group of werewolves. When a mortal medical student is threatened, a vampire tries to protect him and prevent a new hybrid race from being created. Van Helsing. Van Helsing is sent to Transylvania to aid the Valerius family in defeating Dracula, who has formed an alliance with the Frankenstein monster, threatening the Valerius family with a curse. Disturbing secrets are revealed during the battle to destroy the common enemy, the Aviator. After inheriting his father's fortune, Howard Hughes began investing in the film industry and helped further the careers of major Hollywood figures. Despite his success and wealth, the aviation pioneer suffered from depression and debilitating phobias. Underworld. Evolution. The ancient struggle between predators takes on new dimensions of violence. Betrayed by her own clan, the vampire warrior Selene seeks revenge and decides to uncover the truth about the identity of the first true immortal. Click. An architect receives a remote control from an inventor that accelerates time. Using it to escape boredom, he realizes he is missing important moments with his family. Regretful, he seeks out the inventor to reverse the process. Snow Angels. The film narrates Arthur's relationships with his parents, his high school girlfriend, his former nanny, and her disturbed husband. Arthur reflects on his time as a student and recalls his parents' difficult divorce. Vacancy. David and Amy's car breaks down, forcing them to spend the night in a cheap motel. While watching a horror movie, they discover they are in the same room where the scenes took place. With hidden cameras filming, they must find a way out. Winged Creatures. A violent restaurant robbery in Los Angeles has a very different impact on the lives of the survivors. Anne becomes popular at school, Jimmy isolates himself, Carla abandons her child, Bruce loses self-confidence, and Charlie bets everything he has. Nothing but the truth. Reporter Rachel Armstrong, upon disclosing the identity of a CIA agent, is pressured by the government to reveal her source. Rachel defies a prosecutor and is arrested, while her lawyer Albert Burnside takes the case to the U.S. Supreme Court. Underworld. Rise of the Lycans. Victor, the cruel king of vampires, has been relentlessly hunting and enslaving the Lycans, a lineage of werewolves, for centuries. With the help of Sonia, the vampire's daughter, young Lucian and his people initiate a battle for freedom. Whiteout. A policewoman is the sole agent at a research station in Antarctica. When she and her group prepare to return home, a series of deaths occurs. With only 3 days before the complex closes due to the long winter, she must investigate the crimes quickly. Everybody's fine. Frank Good is a widower who maintained his relationship with his family solely through his wife. After her death, he plans a trip to reunite with each of his children. He then realizes that their lives are not as perfect as they claim to be. Contraband. Former smuggler Chris Faraday left his life of crime years ago, but finds himself forced to return to action when his brother-in-law loses a dangerous drug dealer's merchandise, putting his family at risk. Chris now needs to set up a $1 million heist. Underworld. Awakening. After spending years in induced coma, the vampire Selene awakens to discover she has a powerful daughter who is half werewolf, half vampire. Now, Selene must defend the girl from a group of werewolf assassins. Total Recall. Quaid, A bored factory worker seeks out a company that offers a special service, a procedure that turns dreams into true memories. As his dream was to be a spy, Quaid undergoes the procedure, but things don't go as planned. The trials of Kate McCall. After losing everything, former prosecutor Kate must defend a woman falsely accused of murder. The case is her only chance to regain credibility and custody of her daughter. Now, she must unravel a web of lies and face numerous challenges. Stonehurst Asylum. A newly graduated doctor from Harvard accepts a job at a mental institution. Soon, he falls in love with one of his colleagues, which prevents him from noticing a terrible change in the staff dynamics. The Face of an Angel. The brutal murder of a young British woman in Italy generates public interest. Filmmaker Thomas goes to Siena to make a movie about the case, enlisting the help of Simone Ford, a journalist who wrote a book about the crime. Absolutely anything. In 1972, the Atlas Centaur rocket launched from Earth in search of intelligent life. Aliens from the intergalactic community grant a schoolteacher the power to do anything, but only his talking dog knows how to use it. Love and friendship. To escape gossip about her romantic affairs, widow Lady Susan Vernon seeks refuge in her former in-laws' home and decides to find a new husband for herself and a suitable suitor for her daughter Frederica. The Disappointments Room. Haunted by disturbing visions, an architect finds herself immersed in an intriguing mystery upon unlocking a secret room in her attic. Now, she must unravel the hidden secrets of the house before it's too late. Underworld. Blood Wars. Assisted by her allies, the hybrid vampire Selene embarks on an epic journey to end the never-ending war between vampires and werewolves. Determined to achieve peace, she is willing to make any sacrifice necessary to reach her goal. The Only Living Boy in New York. In New York, a recent graduate is confronted with the revelation that his father is involved in an extramarital affair. In his quest for resolution, he finds himself increasingly involved with the woman at the center of this betrayal. Farming. Based on the writer-director's childhood, Farming tells the story of a young Nigerian, farmed out by his parents to a white British family in hopes of a better future. Instead, he becomes the feared leader of a white skinhead gang. Jolt. Woman with fatal rage control disorder wears a vest with electrodes to contain violent outbursts. After the murder of the man she loves, she seeks revenge, while the police consider her a suspect. Prisoner's Daughter. Max is granted compassionate release after serving 12 years in prison with the condition of living with his estranged daughter Maxine and the grandson he never knew. When her abusive ex-husband reappears, Max's violent past comes back to haunt them all. Fool's Paradise. A satirical comedy about an unlucky publicist who strikes gold when he discovers a man recently released from a mental health facility who looks exactly like a misbehaving actor who refuses to leave his trailer. Canary Black. Canary Black follows Avery Graves, an intelligence agent blackmailed by a terrorist into betraying her country to save her kidnapped husband, forcing her into a dangerous game of survival. Stolen Girl. A young woman on the verge of a fresh start has her life thrown into turmoil when a stranger insists she is a long-lost missing child, pushing her into a dangerous search for the truth she never knew and the past she never imagined. Who would you like to see in the next video? Write in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.